Bonjour, audience. Today we ask, what if Napoleon won? Like, won everything, as covered by the Hearts of Iron 4 mod, Après Moi le Déluge. Hey, it was this or Code Geass? How does this happen, you ask, dear viewer? Well, let's go all the way back to the year of 1764, when France and Britain are having a little scuff in North America. Unlike our timeline though, I guess the French are a little less tired, and fight harder, making the war reach a stalemate. In the end, both sides agree to a compromise, with Labrador and Rupert's Land going to France, and Michigan and Ohio going to Britain. But seeing how Britain gets stuck with Ohio, I am not sure how this is not considered anything but a loss for the British. In fact, so disgusted by this, the Americans launch a revolution. They win, but unfortunately for them, the Americans are also forced to take Ohio. Now, if there's one place worse than the pit of despair the British felt after losing America, it is the pit of despair you will feel when you get your personal information stolen online. That is why you, my dear viewer, are going to want Surfshark VPN. It allows you to control your personal data, access content safely, unlock exclusive benefits, and it has a 30-day money-back guarantee. Scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description to get Surfshark with a mind-blowing 83% discount and get an additional 3 months of using it for free. One thing I love about Surfshark is how you can use it to get around price discrimination. Some websites will increase the prices of their services depending on where you live, or even block you from buying things entirely. But with Surfshark, you can just change your location and bam, now you can get that amazing deal you would have otherwise missed out on. Surfshark will also protect you if you are out and about using public Wi-Fi. In fact, as I was writing this script for the video, I was using the public Wi-Fi of my university's library, which can be risky, but I didn't have to worry since Surfshark encrypts my data so that anyone who tries to snoop on me using the public network is not going to have any luck. Purchasing a 24-month VPN plan is seriously one of the best options you can find right now. And if you use my link or scan the QR code right here, you can get 3 months for free. Did I mention it has 83% off? It's that easy. Just download the VPN via my link or scan the QR code and enter my promo code Logan83. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so what are you waiting for? Thanks again to Surfshark for supporting the channel. It is 1789 in France, and life is pretty shit. The king, aristocracy, and clergy are a bunch of a-holes who are ruining everything. Tired of this, the people revolt and force King Louis to give up his power to the legislative body, the National Assembly, creating a constitutional monarchy on British lines. Of course, life doesn't get any better, and now all the absolute monarchies bordering France begin to freak out. So the Sans-Culottes, which is a really cool name for radicalized peasants, slaughtered the French Swiss Guard to the last man at Tuileries Palace. Unfortunately, their king was in another castle as he had fled to Louisiana. So France is a revolutionary republic now, which means if you are an executioner, you are now rolling in the dough. Also, if your name is Austria or Prussia, that means you are terrified of revolution and try and fail to invade France to stop it. Also, those French Jacobins don't stop at France. A lot of them go to America and cause more trouble. So the Americans are like, oh poop, what do we do? The French are making all our people all crazy. And George Washington is like, don't worry guys, I'll kill them all. And he does. Then everyone is like, woohoo, you are a king now, George. To which George is just like, forget I ever said I do not like monarchy. And he ends up being succeeded by the guy from the Lin-Manuel Miranda musical. The French are also not liking their government again, so they overthrow it again. And instead put in charge a 5-man directory. The directory's first act is completely unimportant. We only cared that they sent this random general named Napoleon to Italy, where he wipes the floor with the Austrians. So the directory gets presented with a choice. Do we send this very successful general to Egypt for dumb political reasons, where we expect him to lose? Or do we send him to Ireland? Of course they are not stupid and send him to Ireland. Like, why would they send him to Egypt? That makes no sense. In Ireland, Napoleon does a little trolling and expels the British, setting up a 32-county Irish republic. Of course, with such a fat dub under his belt, Napoleon comes to an important realization. 3 is better than the number 5, so he overthrows the 5-man directorate and replaces it with a 3-man consulate. Oh, and by 3-man, one of the 3 is Napoleon, who is deemed more important than the other 2, so he gets all the power. Napoleon proceeds to curb stomp the British, Austrian, and Prussian armies. At the Peace of Amiens, Britain and Louisiana finally recognized the French Republic. So France is just like, fine Louis, have your frickin' crocodile-infested swamp colony. But only a year later, Britain declares war on France once again. They invade Ireland, but the British are just so bad that the Catholics and Protestants put aside their differences and are just like, screw you guys, and do what the IRA only wish they could do, and throw the Brits off the island. In 1804, Napoleon finally just says screw it and declares himself Emperor of the French. Then, because he can, he invades the Netherlands, Germany, Poland, Spain, etc., setting up puppet states. Napoleon's dominating goes on for a while, but Russia is still being a bitch, so he has a brilliant plan of invading them. And of course it works. Why the hell would it not? He is such a good general that the Tsar just calls it a winter and surrenders. By 1916, Britain is basically alone, as all their allies by that point had noped out. And they really are not having a good time. Still, despite being master of Europe, France's economy has crashed harder than Amber Heard's reputation. So they begrudgingly signed a peace with Britain. By 1832, Napoleon finally kicked the bucket and is succeeded by his nephew, Louis Napoleon. Louis Napoleon takes up the mantle of trolling the British by supporting the Chinese when the British tried to go to war with the Chinese to force them to buy British opium. In China, a Christian cult topples several provincial governments and receives British recognition. France, wanting to do the opposite of whatever Britain is doing, supports the Qing government and prevents the conflict from being concluded decisively, resulting in a China split between the powerful Qing state to the north and the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom hugging the southern coast. Alright, we can check this off our list. I should probably mention what's going on in Louisiana. Well, for one, they are still a thing and have this big Mormon nation to their west. In fact, they and the Mormons really do not get along. So the Mormons come up with a 100 IQ plan.
Step 1. Arm the native tribes to the north. Step 2. Native tribes defeat Louisianian northern expeditions. Step 3. Louisiana in humiliation must give up colonization efforts and recognizes the new nation of Algonquin.
Step 4. Louisiana now blames you for all their problems and goes to war with you. Step 5. Lose war to the Louisianians and be forced to give up territory to them.
But 1866, what a doozy. So basically, it's May Day in Paris, when some protests get violent. The government sends in the troops, but it kind of backfires. So now they must retreat to the edge of the city along with the government. Now everyone is getting ideas and Europe is full of revolution and stuff. Eventually though, the French go full grape shot in the streets and things calm down a bit. But now the French need to go liberate Luxembourg, Germany, Poland, and Austria, which all fell to Jacobins. But they are kind of tired and allow some of these places to keep their Jacobin governments. So France goes to beat up Japan to make themselves feel better. If I don't include Africa in this video, people are going to accuse me of Eurocentrism. So Scramble for Africa still happens in this timeline, just more Frenchier. And Italy also tries invading Ethiopia, but same as any timeline, they of course fail. But without an Archduke, how does World War I start? Well, in 1928, the kings of Hungary, Poland, and Serbia get together and are like, you know what, screw Austria, and decide to partition it. But France is like, no, we love the Austrians, and bring in the continental system into the war. Britain, wanting to do the opposite of whatever France is doing, invades the port of Calais. Things quickly go trench warfare. Now, the Italians are able to resist their natural urge to switch sides by just invading both sides at once. Unfortunately, Britain makes an oopsie, attacking all shipping heading to France, which just pisses off the Americans who join France and take over British colonies in the Western Hemisphere. But by 1933, everyone's economies are crashing, so peace is signed. Hungary and Poland are forced by the terms of the treaty to pay huge war reparations, and Serbia loses territory to Croatia and Bulgaria. So Germany then promptly explodes, with parts falling to socialist revolutionaries and other parts to fascist reactionaries, with France also getting a mandate in Pomerania. And now it's 1936, the ending date for all these Hoi 4 mod videos. So see y'all next week, but let's be real, in 4 months probably.